At 5, a possible connection to the missing Skelton brothers.
Yeah, this comes after the remains of 3 children were found in a box in Montana. Could that be linked to the 2010 disappearance of the Michigan boys?
Tonight we have Team 7 coverage. Our Andrea Isom is taking you inside the investigation in Montana.
First, we begin with 7 investigator Jim Kirchner. He's live in Morenci, where those boys were last seen, and that was 7 years ago. Jim, how is the latest development possibly being received there?
Well, Stephen, it's certainly mixed reviews. People here still have a lot of hope. This is still the small town with the big unsolved mystery. And as I speak on the loudspeakers up here, Christmas carols are playing, but it's hard to be festive when people here are thinking that 3 of their own small boys could have been taken from here all the way out to Montana.
Hopefully it's not them. Hopefully our prayers have been answered that they're still alive somewhere. You know, that's what we've been praying for and hoping for, of course, all this time.
This small town refuses to give up hope. The flyers of Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner still hang in the storefront windows 7 long years later. Their father, John Skelton, said he turned them over to an underground group to protect them from their mother. He's in prison for kidnapping and has never said much more. Did the so-called group somehow take the boys to Montana?
My gut tells me that it's a good possibility, but my heart tells me I don't want it to be them, just in hopes that they are still alive.
From the hardware store to the barber shop across the street and every store in between, the people don't want the mystery to end in the worst possible way. Evidence of 3 young boys who died out in Montana.
Well, I'm hoping that it doesn't have anything to do with the missing boys. But then again, I mean, if it does, at least we'll have some closure one way or the other.
I think it's far-fetched. I mean, Montana's a long ways away from here, you know, talking 2,500 miles.
Now, next hour at 6, this small town became one big family as people turned out to volunteer their time and search for Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner 7 years ago, how they're remembering them out to Montana. Live in Morenci, Jim Kirchner, 7 Action News.
All right, Jim, thank you so much.
Tonight we are taking you inside the investigation taking place hundreds of miles away in Montana. Investigators telling Action News they're in the process of interviewing people as they try to identify the remains.
Our Andrea Isom is joining us now with the very latest on what you've learned digging into this whole thing.
Well, guys, I just got off the phone with police in Montana. They are sharing their information with investigators here at home in Michigan, but it could take months before any of us gets any answers.
Hoping to come to some conclusion on at least the remains that we have here, if not, you know, the case that exists there in Michigan.
Michigan and Montana may be miles and miles apart, but there could be a chilling connection. According to cops in the city of Missoula, Montana, something precious and rare was discovered inside this small wooden shed. Human remains, teeth, bones of 3 children, all of them under the age of 10. Most of Metro Detroit remembers the tragedy in the small town of Morenci, Michigan. It will forever be known for the disappearance of the Skelton brothers. Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner vanished 7 years ago, the day after Thanksgiving. This after a visit with their father, John Skelton, who claims he gave them to an underground organization to protect them from their mother. Could the remains be those of the little Skelton boys? All of them were under the age of 10 as well when they vanished without a trace. The bone fragments and loose teeth were found in a box. They were not hidden in the shed, says detectives. They were discovered after the previous tenants left the property. But what about those who came before?
We are following up with past tenants. We are making contact with those folks and arranging interviews.
NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, is working on this as well.
In our case, we are hoping that if they do locate DNA in these remains, that they can extract it and potentially tell us who they are, who the people are, and whether or not they're related.
And if they are connected to any other missing cases across the country, like the Skelton brothers missing in Michigan.
We're so premature in making any determination about these remains. It's hard to say that we even have any connection to the state of Michigan with this. So at this point, I guess I would just ask them to be patient and let this investigation proceed as far as it can. And, you know, if we have some news, or if the Michigan State Police has news to help add some closure for them, that's our biggest wish.
Look at those faces. Right now, it's all in the hands of the DNA experts. It could take months before we find out who those children are. Reporting live, Andre Isom, 7 Action News.
Andre, thank you so much for that. Right now on WXYZ.com, you can read the message from the mother of the Skelton boys. Also, you'll find a collection of stories we've done, and there are a lot of them, on their disappearance over the past several years.
Now to your forecast. Another round of snow has been pushing through, making for a slippery